Now, through the various room tours I've given you guys throughout the past few years here, you may have noticed I got a lot of stuff on my wall. And you may have also noticed that I haven't, put these things up using the nail hanging frames, if you will, that you got to hammer in and potentially cause damage to the wall if anything happens. Instead, they're being held up by, well, command strips. They're being held up by these command strips. Now, the other ones I have up, of course, being my posters, being my posters and everything, without frames, they're held up with these things called post-ups. These post-up things as well. Now, both of them, both the command strips and post-ups, are very similar in how they're utilized. The only difference with command strips is you actually have to use alcohol to apply it. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. You basically got a clean surface with rubbing alcohol. You got a clean surface with rubbing alcohol, and basically then you remove the red liner, which is, if I can pull it out here for a second, which is this thing, and you remove the red liner, press adhesive to hook. So in other words, you take this side and you press it to the back of the hook here, and in this side here that says wall, you press that onto the surface that you just cleaned with rubbing alcohol. And then, according to the directions, remove black liner, which is the wall, which is the other side of the adhesive, and stick it to the wall. Press hook firmly to wall for 30 seconds. Wait 1 hour. This is what they suggest. Wait 1 hour before use. Now, not a lot of people obviously do that. They just, press very firmly the command strip hook to the wall, and they go for about, I would say, 2 minutes overall, because you got to press both the top and the bottom on both sides, the front and the back. And then after they do that, they pretty much hang what they want to hang. Now, as far as the command strips, not command strips, but the post-ups go, the directions are cut, press, peel, attach. That's it. But the similar thing to the command strips is you have to hold, in my opinion, from what I've learned, you have to hold the adhesive, the adhesive thing here on the back of your poster or your picture that you're going to hang without a frame for about the same length you would press down on the adhesive for the command strip, which is about 30 seconds. Now, the benefit about that, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that you don't have to worry about causing any much damage. I mean, if there's any kind of damage that's caused, it mainly can be easily fixed with a coat of paint. Like if there's anything that falls off here and it leaves like a white mark on there, me and my mom could easily apply a coat of paint or some kind of light brown marker on it, and we'd be good. And that's about it. Or we'd figure out a way to cover it up by basically putting something in front of it, like, doing pictures like this, or new command strips with just reapplying the same item that we hung up previously in the same spot. Now, that sounds all good, right? The same thing with the post-ups. You follow the directions correctly, and you're good to go. Things stay up for a very long time, right? Nothing can go wrong. But you see, that's the kicker. The kicker is they say, nothing can go wrong and that there's less damage, but they never tell you that you have to keep reapplying. Yeah, you have to keep reapplying the command strip, over time. That's right. You have to basically reapply the command strip over time. Now, they do stay on the walls for a very long time. I'll give you that. But depending on the item that's hanging, you need to reapply that command strip time and time again. Sometimes when the item potentially falls, and it will let loose and it will fall, usually most of the time the hook is fine, and you can easily, if you do it correctly, you could take the strip off and apply a new strip. That's why they give you a bunch of extra strips when you buy these command hooks and stuff. They give you all these extra adhesive strips, even selling them separately, so that way you don't have to throw away the hook. And that's great and everything, but the one thing they never tell you in these directions is that over time you have to reapply them. You have to basically reapply the adhesive to the hook, to the command hook or whatever command accessory it is, and basically do it all over again. Now, thankfully, that doesn't happen, every now and then. It just happens once in a while. Like a lot of these have been up on my wall for since the time I got here. So the command strips obviously proved to be very useful and very strong. But over time, you do have to reapply them. The same thing goes for the post-its. For the post-ups, I should say. The same thing goes for them. Over time, you have to basically reapply them. You have to add a new strip to the back of the poster or the picture that you're hanging without a frame. And again, press onto it for about 30 seconds till it stays on the wall without coming down. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why do they come down? What's causing it? Well, it's quite simple. It's weather related. Yeah, even though I'm indoors, it's weather related. How is it weather related? Well, quite simple. If it's cold, we have to put on the heater. And by putting on the heater, the heat causes the adhesive to let loose. It causes whatever the material is that's holding that adhesive, I should say, is made of, it's causing it to let loose, dry up, if you will. And by doing so, it's causing the hooks to start to, let loose. The hooks are starting to come loose. And the way you know about this is once in a while, or every other day, or every day, you might hear something like a sound like a or like a, and then you'll look around going like, what was that sound? I don't hear nothing. What's going on? And then before you know it, that sound makes itself notice, and then you see that it's an item or a picture that you've hung up that's coming loose, and all because of the adhesive is wearing out because of your heater. Or if it's during the summer and it's hot and you want to put a cooler on, the same thing. The cooler is basically causing the adhesive to become either too slick or dry up. Mostly probably too slick, to the point that it will fall. Another thing that could cause it to come loose, of course, is movement. If you're walking around, doors are shutting too hard or whatever, that could cause a lot of trauma, as crazy as that sounds, for the adhesive that's holding the hook or holding up the picture. And it will cause it to come loose. Basically, what I'm getting at is, basically what I'm trying to get at, and I'm doing this, without a script off the top of my head. Basically, what I'm getting at is it's all about time. It's about the timing of when you do it, when you apply the post-ups or the command strips to whatever you're going to utilize them for. It's about time. It's about the area. It's about time. And basically, just keeping an eye out. I mean, if you look in the guest room, basically, those pictures are hung up by command strips as well. And over time, there's no doubt that they too will probably come tumbling down. Another way that they get, weakened a little bit is if it's a nice day, you decide to have the window open to, like nowadays, this year, let the germs out, especially with what's going on. The weather can come in, and the wind itself, if there's a little bit of a breeze, can cause the adhesiveness on the command strips or the post-ups to become weakened. So that's what it is. That's what it is in the end. It's all about, it's all weather related is what I'm trying to say. It's all weather related. And by being weather related in some shape or form, either by you shutting the windows and putting on the heater because it's too cold, or you shutting the windows because it's too hot and you want to cool off, or if it's a nice day and you're opening the windows and that slight breeze comes in, it's all weather related. And basically by all of that occurring in some shape or form over time, it causes the adhesiveness of the command strips and the post-ups to weaken and come loose. And before you know it, you come home and you might see something that's, in your rec room or your bedroom or your living room or even your garage setting, if you have that set up somehow, on the floor, hopefully not broken, and just needing to be hung back up again or reapplied again because the adhesive came loose. Again, these things are great to utilize, and if you do them correctly, they will last a long time. A lot of these two things here have lasted a long time. That has been up for a long time. The posters over here have been up for a long time. So yeah, if you do it correctly, they will work. Also, a big advice as well is make sure that whatever item you're hanging isn't too bulky or heavy. You might recall that I used to have my Dura brand home theater speakers hanging on the walls here, and they were fine, but over time, because of the bulkiness and them being a little bit more heavier than, let's say, what can I use for an example real quickly? Then let's say a Marvel figure, like this is Angela from Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's it, because of the fact that the speakers were more heavier than a figure like that, over time, even though they were kept up there for a decent amount of time, which surprised me, the bulkiness, along with the heat from the heater or the coolness of the cooler or the wind itself, caused the adhesiveness to weaken, and they fell. I can tell you, for example, this year is a prime example. When I was a prime example of that, because several occasions before I got my soundbar, they fell. I remember having one up here where Gadget's at, and it fell. I remember having one up here that I took down because if I was getting this new TV, which I did, I didn't want it to be damaged. The other two I had up here, and they were perfectly fine because I went and applied the adhesive the correct way. But the other ones, they fell. And I don't know if because I didn't apply the adhesive correctly or the fact that they were just too bulky or what. I don't know. But the point is, speakers do get held up very well by them, but over time, the bulkiness will cause them to weigh down, and the adhesiveness will start weakening, and then you add in things like a heater and a cooler, the wind coming from the window through a slight breeze, and it will cause those to come down a lot quicker. And like I said, a good example of that with me is when I was at work one time, and my mom told me, hey, something fell in your room, and when I came home, I was wondering what fell, and then I saw what it was, I was like, oh, it was one of my speakers. Because the adhesive had come loose. So in a way, you can hang speakers like what I had, but you got to make sure you apply the adhesive correctly and the right way to make sure they don't fall. And that if you start, and then the other thing I should say is always check to make sure they're not coming loose. Because if you start seeing them tilt a little bit, that's when you know the adhesive is starting to come loose and you need to reapply it, or you need to find another place to put your speakers. But anyway, though, again, I'm not saying anything bad, about the command strips or the post-ups. But what I am saying is this. Most of the time they do work, but there's one exception, and that exception is that 3M, the people behind the command strips, and Trends, behind the people behind Post-its or the post-ups, they don't tell you that, oh, you need to reapply over time, especially if you have your items that you're hanging in the direction of heat or coolness or whatever. They don't tell you that over time you gotta reapply it because the heat from a heater or the coolness from a cooler or the light breeze from the wind outside might cause it to come loose. They don't tell you that. You have to figure that out for yourself. But anyway, though, guys, I know this might sound like a little bit of a nonsensical kind of video, but I wanted to just give you my thoughts overall on the command strips, let you know that they do work, along with the post-ups, the command strips and post-ups, let you know that they do work as advertised, But the one kicker, the one thing they don't advertise is you have to go back, once in a while and reapply the adhesive on the command hook or accessory that comes with it, as well as do the same with a post-up so that you can keep whatever your item is on the wall, hanging there for a little longer. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Let me know if any of you have used command strips or post-ups to hang things. Let me know down below. Comment if you like. And I'm out.